Georgia on the logo, celebrating back-to-back Nats. Perfection wears red and black tonight. 15-0, the Dogs have done it and won a second consecutive national.
Oh man, oh man, oh man, not again.
Lead flicker to get the night started. Downfield looking for Godwin, into his hands, and guess which Dogs are barking first? Uga, get after it.
Sonny Michel will send the Dogs home to the championship game.
And Bobo throws that thing in the end zone and
Yes!
touchdown! Touchdown in the goal line!
Sigue Ringo, corta dentro, Ringo, touchdown! Georgia!
The Georgia Bulldogs bludgeon their way to back-to-back. Glory, glory. Georgia, as the fight song says.
This is our love for each other. 1 + 1 = what? 3. We are better together and we are connected.
This is Robert Iron E. Singleton, a.k.a. D-Dog from The Walking Dead, or Alton from The Blind Side, and you are watching Respect the Hedges on the Fan Addict Sports Network. All right, guys, go Dogs, sick 'em.
Welcome in, Dog Nation, and Respect the Hedges family. We in here for Hate Week. That's right, we in here for Hate Week, man. It's time to get ready to play Georgia Tech, man. We're going to preview Georgia Tech, talk about these college football rankings that should be coming out here in a minute. And we have a guest coming in as well. Cedric Van Pran Granger's dad's going to join us today, give his thoughts on Tech and the Dogs here and the playoff outlook coming up. So, but as always, y'all already know we presented by the Tailgate Kings. That's right. We're up here for another episode of Respect the Hedges on Fan Addict Sports Network, man. Talk about some Dogs, man. We're going to get into it today, man. Them Dogs have secured a spot in the SEC Championship. We don't know who we'll play. It'll be the winner of Texas and Texas A&M this weekend, but we got to take care of Georgia Tech first, man. So let's go ahead and bring the crew in and talk about it, man. First up, we're going to bring in our guy, E-Rod. What's going on, E?
Coach, what's happening, baby? Man, it feels like we haven't been on the show forever, man. So I guys, I need to kind of do some house cleaning. Look, if you were in Athens for that Tennessee game, then I'm not talking to you. But if you weren't there, man, let me tell you something. That atmosphere was what it's about. That's what college ball is all about. The way we performed in that game, the way Carson Beck came through in that game, I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I still got it on my chest. That's what it's about. Now, we can get the Dogs to play like that. But see, before I even get into that, I saw this UMass game. So, I don't know. I guess we'll talk about that. Anyway, bring in the boys. But that damn atmosphere for the Tennessee game was what college football is all about.
Right. The Dogs did get a good win over Tennessee. We didn't get to talk about it because we was off last week, but we in here now, man. Shout out to some of the Dogs getting in. First lady up in there, you see it. She said, "Go Dogs! Hate Week is here." Our guy JV will be rolling in a little bit late. They say, "Let's get it in, fellas." They say, "Mega Gate tickets coming up." That's right. Y'all already know the Dogs is in the SEC Championship. They do it either way, but it's always nice when the Dogs are in it. JV and the Tailgate Kings put on Mega Gate every year, so get your Mega Gate tickets 2024. Tailgate Kings, ATL.com. Go ahead and reserve your spot. It's be going down. J Dog in the building. Say we in here. Go Dogs. That's right. Let's go ahead and bring in our guy Shouty. What's going on, Shouty?
Gentlemen, what's happening?
Hey man, another week talking about Dogs. I can hear myself through your audio.
What's up, pimp?
Hey man, I don't know, Cole. This new platform putting pressure on folks. Broadband service and everything. I can't get my audio together. I don't know what's going on, man.
Well, you ain't lying, boy. It's taking up all my quarters.
E-Rob, it's just I think your signal good. I think if you turn your pitch off, it might help. But we can hear you fine. Oh, let's go ahead and bring in Cool Cal. What's going on, Cal?
Hey man, I got to concur
I,
with my brothers,
I
man.
got a
Coach can put us on the chitlin circuit. I don't know what's going on over here. We've been smooth for years. Now I hear all these echoes, but hey man, I'm gonna let that go. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, man. We trying to do things out. You know what I'm saying, for the show. But we're gonna work it out. Either which way, we're gonna work it out. So I just want to say what's up to Dog Nation. Like E-Rob said, I feel like we ain't been on for a minute, man. It's good to be back on with my brothers, man. Have some good dogs.
Right. You sound good today, Cal. I know you upgraded your services the last couple of weeks, but you sound crystal clear now, man.
I had to go get that business service now, Coach.
Hina's in the building. What's going on, Hina? Our own campus correspondent. She say hi, fam. Blackout on Friday. That's right. That's right. Blackout on Friday. I think you should be good now.
I found Hina. For the Tennessee game, Coach. I found her.
Hey, that means you had some good pregame celebrations going on. Shawty, you in with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. We're good. All right. Shelby said, I thought our production budget had increased. Hey, listen, man. These out here, man, inflation got us changing platforms and stuff like that, dog. So we're gonna have to make it work. But yeah, man, we here to talk about E-Rob. You said you had some things to talk about from the Tennessee game you wanted to get off your chest before we get into this Georgia Tech preview. He offline.
Yeah, put some platform, hell, boy.
But it makes sure you. I told him, he out of there, so that's all right. He didn't say we didn't find each other good times. We did find each other good times and got that W. That's right. We got the W against Tennessee. Got the W against UMass, even though the defense first half didn't really look too good against, against UMass, but we pulled it out. Ended up beating them by 30. The rankings coming out here in a minute. I'm pretty sure we'll be top 10. How you feeling going into this Georgia Tech game?
Well, Coach, I think this is a situation where, I feel good, but I think it's a situation where, two things can be right at the same time. Georgia Tech is better than they have been in the past, and we may not quite be as good as we have been in the past. And I think both of those statements are somewhat true in my opinion. I just feel like we have a much better roster. I'm a stats guy. I look at the numbers. I mean, we're not too much different when you look at the stats. Granted, we're talking apples and oranges. We play in two different conferences. I think we're top 15 nationally offensively, and I think they may be like 31 or something like that. But that's pretty good.
Right.
And on defense, they like 41st or 44th. And honestly, to be in the nation, that's pretty damn good too. So Georgia Tech is a pretty damn good team, Coach. So
yeah,
I think we're going into this game, and it's gonna all fall down to how our quarterback plays. If he's turning the ball over 2 and 3 times, it's gonna be a tight game. It's gonna be a hell of a game. But if he goes in and protect the ball, that's something Georgia Tech quarterback does. He's not gonna beat you with his arm, but he protects the ball. 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. So one thing about it, he's not going to give you a lot of opportunities to get the ball. So we're going to have to manufacture some kind of pressure in order for that to happen, But I feel good going into the game. I don't think we cover.
Okay, yeah, it is a big spread. It's 19.5, Cal. How you feeling just about the Dogs coming off the last 2-week performances? We didn't really get to talk about the Tennessee game and the UMass game, too.
I'm gonna just throw it out there. I didn't see the UMass game. I didn't go back and watch it. It wasn't gonna tell me anything about the season. Wasn't gonna tell me anything upcoming. But obviously, as we alluded to before, 2 weeks ago was electric. Man, we had a big time game against Tennessee, another top 10 team in the country, fighting for their playoff lives as well. We came out and we performed in that game. It's probably one of our best performances of the season, considering the opponent, the talent that they had on both sides of the ball. So I thought it was a really great performance. But obviously, looking at the score and some of the stats from last week, didn't get obviously a feel for the game, but it felt like obviously a game we just wanted to push through. But this game here this weekend against Tech, like Shawty said, man, it's a big time game. Georgia Tech is a lot better than they've been in the last 4, 5, 6 years, and we're probably not as good as we've been, probably the last 3 or 4 years, which obviously is going to make it a much more competitive game, which
Right.
is generally it's always a competitive game anyway because a lot of in-state kids play against each other, went to high school together, so that makes it competitive within itself. But I'm looking for us to really come out here again because it was just a year ago they fought us tough.
Mm-hmm.
They really brought it for about 3 quarters, and I think we really didn't get control of that game until the fourth quarter, where we kind of took over down the stretch at the end. So I'm looking for a physical game from them. They've already come out this year. They beat Miami, which was a top 5 team at the time. They played some really other tough games, Syracuse, Louisville, where they've had some tough bumps in the road. But I'm looking for those kids to come out, play hard. Like Shawty said, we're getting into the spread thing. I don't think it's going to be something that we're going to cover. I'm looking for a really tight ball game this weekend going into the SEC championship.
Yeah, I think I echo all those sentiments, man. Shout out to some of the dogs getting in. Lance B say dropping in for a minute. Shout out to Oklahoma fan Ryman Lemon for getting in. Says, "Oh yeah, man, we definitely." I'm one of a few on social media dog fans that actually wanted to play in the SEC title game even before that Oklahoma beat down of Bama. But yes, appreciate you beating Bama. I like to control my own destiny. I don't want no committee deciding it for me. I don't want to have to go on the road in the first round. I want to, want the Dogs to control the SEC and get that first round bye when we win the SEC title. So, yeah, appreciate that, Sooners. Shout out. So, E-Rob, I see you in here. You been in here, man. I don't know if you knew you was in here, but you was in here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I could bear it's like in and out, bro. So I'm other word. Yeah, this
Okay.
this thing here, I can't get it on my phone either, boy. Yeah, this some BS right here, boy.
You rolling right
You
now, though.
got
But
you
yeah, I think
got
we're
on the
talking about
star
the
man,
dog
dog.
performance. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what you right. We can hear you now.
I don't know, man. Anyway, I'm happy, but
Turn your
y'all so
camera off, E.
delayed. It's like I'm saying it's like 10 seconds later it's come y'all
Uh,
hearing it. But anyway, man, this face right here, this made for the camera, man. Why I'm doing if I ain't on the camera, baby? You know what I'm saying? This thing here made for the TV. But anyway, the dogs, man. That I'm a little worried about. I'm a little worried about how we looked against UMass because I feel like Georgia Tech's going to bring out a similar game plan. I mean, that's kind of their offense. They run the ball, they run the ball, they run the ball. They don't really want to throw it a whole bunch. So us letting a lesser opponent run the ball the way they did with the success that they had does it makes you a little nervous with Christian Miller being out this week. I think he might be so you can get so that's my problem with this game is we're just so banged up. I feel like we can beat anybody we play, but I think just having that extra playing a one less game is
Right. But I think in some aspect we did lose Christian Miller. I think to like a shoulder injury in the UMass game. Other players are getting healthy. Hopefully, as the time goes on, I think for the SEC championship we may have 2 running backs back, both the Robinson boys. Uh, shout out to J Dog. He said E-Rob must be on that Netflix live. Listen, before I bring our guest in, man, and I forget, man, we're gonna go ahead. It is time. We are playing Georgia Tech this week, man. It's rivalry week, so it's time for getting petty with Shelby.
I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. I'm crossing the line today. The hate be so real, the love be fake.
I kind of hear something.
Yeah, I know, right? So let's go ahead and All right, so getting petty with Shelby. She said, "Look, like the Minutemen took a little blue pill in the first half. Too bad it didn't last. The North Avenue Trade School knows a little something about not being able to finish the job." Signed, the First Lady. Shout out to Shelby and the Get Petty with Shelby.
She
All
be
right, let's go
getting
ahead and bring
mad,
our
man.
guest in, man.
I
Listen,
love it.
man, father
Trade school.
Cedric Van Granger playing with the Buffalo Bills, currently former leader of the Dogs, national champion. It is Cedric Granger Sr. What's going on, Ced?
I'm good, fellas. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we
We
got
can
you
hear you.
loud and clear.
Good, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, man, it's
Good. How
good,
about
man. It's
you? How
good.
about
It's rivalry week.
Yeah, man. Like
Yeah, we
y'all was
got
saying.
you.
I'm sorry.
You know,
E-Rob
E
sitting
Rob, but he a little late. SB.
uh, like y'all was saying, man. I think it's gonna be a really
Come
tough
on
game.
now.
Man, he like 10 seconds behind, E-Rod. Just be
Okay.
quiet.
Oh man. I was worried about mine. I thought my internet was gonna be acting up. But I think Tech is going to be a tough game. For one, it's a robbery, and them dudes are much improved, man. They're a really good team. In the last couple years, they've really been playing, Georgia, hard, and the players overall seem like they play really hard for Brent Key.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm expecting a tough game, but I definitely think Georgia's going to pull it out. But they're not going to just flat out whoop them.
Right, 19 and a half. That's a lot of points. Even though we play at home, I think a lot goes into that. The win streak that we have at home is now at 29, I think, home games, or 31 of the two. I think it's 30 now that we beat UMass. And Georgia Tech is 1-3 on the road this year. So they haven't played really good on the road either. So, but they did play us tight, like Shawty said, in Atlanta last year. So, I'm interested to see, because Haynes King is not 100% healthy. He has a shoulder injury. He still runs the ball, but he hasn't been able to throw the ball like he wants to. Um, I think he hurt it in that Miami win that they got a couple of weeks ago. But in the NC State game, they had a backup quarterback come in. And you know how we haven't fared well when people use two quarterbacks, here and there, and both of them can run the ball. Shawty, you get a
Quarterback.
chance to watch that backup quarterback for Georgia Tech?
Yeah, and I don't know, for some reason I thought I heard that he was going to be starting.
The backup.
Right, and I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that he was going to be starting because his old boy injury. But
Mhm.
to Mr. Granger point on, I tell you where, it's not only that they play hard. Georgia Tech played hard for the coach. He has upgraded that roster as well. They got better players.
Yes, he has. And man, I tell you, a key addition when they hired Buster Faulkner. You know, when my son was there, man, I remember being in a room with him and what's the OC with
Mike,
Baltimore.
oh,
Todd Monken.
Todd
Todd
Monken.
Monken. I remember being in a room with them guys, man. We was on a visit, and Buster Faulkner, man, he's real sharp. And when I saw they got him, I instantly knew that he was going to be able to get better offensive players, to Georgia Tech, and that's looked like what's happening.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Cal, have you had a chance to see any of Tech this year? I mean, I have watched about 3 or 4 games. I haven't watched them all. I watched the Miami win. I watched some of the NC State and the Notre. I want to say it was Notre Dame. I think they played. But have you had a chance to see the Yellow Jackets in action?
I haven't seen them in the last few weeks. I saw them a lot earlier in the season. I seen when they played quite a bit when they played against Syracuse. I saw some of the Florida State game early in the season as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so obviously looking back, even though Florida State is a terrible team, I think for a team like Georgia Tech, that was still a signature win at that particular time, beating Florida State, because sometimes beating the name can mean so much. So I thought early in the season that kind of propelled them as well. I thought went up to Syracuse. They played tough against Fran Brown's team. So the one thing that I do see with them is they will give up some yards in the passing game. I think that that's somewhere that we could make a lot of hay in the passing game. Obviously, making sure that we're protecting the quarterback, making good decisions. I think our skill guys could do a lot against their secondary. So I'm really looking for a lot of that to happen. But as far as their front seven, Georgia Tech, from what I've seen, they're really tough up front. They play the run well. They play good disciplined football. So, like I said, we've all said, man, we really got to be on our game this week. We really got to tighten some things up, to be able to come out here with a victory.
Yeah, I think they do have a good front seven in the run game, but I was checking some stats. I know Shorty liked the stats. They only have 15 sacks on the season, which if you take all of our opponents that are Division One, that's only Tennessee Tech is the only one that was in Division One. All of our opponents, other than Mississippi State, rank way higher than even UMass ranked higher than Georgia Tech in sacks. There's only by one, but
Mm.
they don't really get after the quarterback like that. So I think we should be able to keep Carson clean offensively. So I look for our offense to keep rolling. Shawty,
You know what
you
I
what?
do like though, Coach. What I say this here, we don't really get after the quarterback too much either, but we are top 15 ranked defense. But one thing I will say, what I do like about their defense, to y'all point about their front seven being very good, their top three leading tacklers are all linebackers as opposed to people in the secondary, and that's what I like
Yeah.
to see.
Well, to your point, to your comment about us not getting after the quarterback, we are top 30 in sacks, by the way. So I mean, we don't get after the quarterback like a South Carolina because they like top three, or Ole Miss is actually number one. But but I get what you're saying. Their linebackers do play pretty good, sound football. They don't, jump off the page. They're not making spectacular. They don't have a lot of turnovers. I think they got like 10 turnovers total. That's interceptions and fumbles as far as their defense is concerned. Rob, have you had a chance to see Georgia Tech play this year? If so, we'll let you have the floor, man. And I know you're delayed, so we won't say nothing.
And go. Oh, he about 10 seconds behind.
You got to
And he muted.
unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Oh God.
Hey,
All right.
game, man. They
You muted, Erod. Even though you connected, you are muted. I'm hitting the unmute request so you can unmute, dog. You got to unmute.
Go back out and come back in again.
Oh man. So but to Sam's point, man, yes, Buster Faulkner has definitely improved that offense down there. I think Brent Key is doing some of the same things that Clark Lee is doing at Vandy. He's an alum at Brent Key is an alum from Georgia Tech. He's come out and he's actually said his disdain for Georgia, but what would you expect if you were a Georgia Tech alum? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to say stuff like that. Uh, the comments is crazy. What's going on, Dutch? Shelby says Rob using the cricket phone. I think he was on this computer. So we got to see
He
some.
didn't already shut off, but he's still up there for another minute or two.
Right. So we got to see some more. We as the season's been going on, we've been getting to see Cal more and more young players, especially on that offense, man. Sokobi White got a couple of catches last week. We got to see more of Chauncey Bowens. Who are these freshmen? You like playing a lot of these freshmen, or you think we just doing it out of necessity?
Well, I think both. I think that there are particular times well, obviously, let's go back, man. That's why you go out and you recruit so hard. That's why
Right.
you continuously try to stockpile and you try to get as many great kids as you can. Because obviously, for one, playing in the SEC, you're just going to have the rigors of the SEC. That's just going to, it's going to be a war of attrition. Teams are going to wear down over the course of the year. There's going to be some different issues as far as guys getting hurt. Maybe guys don't perform as well. and you have to have other guys step in and fill those shoes. And I think that this has been one of those years where it's kind of been a balance of obviously we got to get some new guys in, but it's a necessity as well. We just don't have um, the depth where we have more sophomores and juniors in the program because of the portal, a lot of kids leave, so it's leave your backups being a lot younger and having to produce. And I think this is one of those years where maybe we've had some guys that maybe we probably wouldn't have had playing for us back in the a couple of years ago out of necessity. That's what they have to do now. So I don't know if there's anybody I'm looking forward to. I just think that whoever steps into those shoes, man, you got big shoes to fill. That's why you came to Georgia. And hopefully you continue to get better throughout the season to where it's when your time to shine, you can go in there and perform.
Right, right. I think we got to see Nitro Togo the last couple of weeks. Shawnee, what's your thoughts on Nitro Togo, number 2, the wide receiver?
I mean, it's good to get a chance to see him, do what he can do. Kirby has talked big about him all year. I mean, he was a highly anticipated guy coming in. Unfortunately, he was just kind of buried in the depth chart.
Right.
And to kind of your point earlier, it's a point right now. Nitro could be one of those kids like you're seeing a lot of these running backs play. If I'm right now they can play these next 2 games and not lose their red shirt. So you actually get a glance to see them without any penalty, so to speak. And at the same time, we need the bodies. We banged up,
Right.
receiver and at the running back position. So it's good that these young guys can. It's really good for them. It's like getting early and more practices and getting live bullets and not have to burn that red shirt. So you really getting a glimpse of what you're gonna be able to see in the future. So for guys like Nate Frazier and 33, I can't remember his name.
Chauncey Boyce.
Yeah, Chauncey Boyce. This is great development. But one thing I would say, I be having this conversation / argument with our co-host and his brother Corey Allen and Steve. As good as Cash
Shout out to our
Jones,
guy Steve.
right? And as good as Cash Jones is, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but when you have a guy like that in, he's getting snaps and he's getting the amount of reps that he's getting. We down bad, and that's what you're seeing right now. That's why you're seeing so many freshmen play.
Well, you said something about needing bodies. I think that's going on across college football, to be honest. And I think with the transfer portal, a lot of the backup talent we would say they leaving and going to other places. Plus, this season is the first season we got so many games. So, I mean, I don't know if a team out there that ain't banged up in some position. So, I think that's why a lot of the Dog Nation was like, "Oh, it'll be good. We don't play in the SEC championship. We get a week off." But at the end of the day, again, everybody's banged up. Hell, I think Texas A&M got people banged up. Quinn Ewers, I think he's out for the year if I'm not mistaken. I know he had an MRI done on his I want to say his arm or something. So he may be out of the art show. How you feeling, Cedric, about this year and the playoff? People were saying that some teams might shut it down at the end of the season, but last weekend told us ain't nobody shutting it down. You know what I'm saying? Even those teams that's not in the playoff talks. How you liking the first year of the college football playoffs?
Man, it's great for college football for me. I'm a football fan. I like Georgia. My son was there. I have a lot of love for him, but I'm a fan of football. Period. Pro and college. So just to see some great football, I like it that they don't have a dominant team this year. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like when Bama was on their dynasty, like, you kind of got tired of seeing that just like the Patriots in the NFL. So, I'm kind of glad in a way UGA not as dominant as they were because of what is that going to say if they still win that thing? And they haven't been as dominant. You know what I mean? So it's like that's going to be a hell of a statement, and I think they got a really good chance to win it because nobody's dominant.
Right. I don't think there is a dominant team like years past. Even the years that Georgia won it, there was other dominant teams. I think in 2022, Ohio State was very dominant. We were able to beat them, and so on and so forth. But as a Georgia dog, I definitely want to see the Dogs be dominant. But I like to see good football. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
We do have a good chance to win it. We just we got to be consistent, and that's something that we haven't been. Our offense does look like it's starting to wake up, Cal. Some. I know you didn't get to see the UMass game, but they continued a little bit. That Tennessee game, the offense looked like they was, after the first quarter, they kind of, got it going. I think Carson was 4 for 12 in the first quarter, had some drops, but then after that, we started rolling like, the old, Georgia, the 2023 Georgia offense. So that's got to be encouraging, especially if the defense starts to come to play, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to say this too, Coach. I'm spot on with you. I've been hearing a lot of this crap for like the last week. Oh man, now we got to go play in the SEC championship game, as if that's a negative bad thing.
Right.
Let me tell you something, man. We ain't gotta be scared of nobody. We don't have to be scared of no situations. This is not 2015. This is not 2010. This is 2024, dogs, man. We done won it. We done been there. We done been in playoff games. We done been under the pressure cooker. I just don't think we got to sit back and try to avoid and strategically get in. Let's go out there and do what we do. Kick ass in the SEC championship game. Because again, I know the main thing is to win the national championship, but also the SEC championship holds a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? That's always been something that's been a big thing, is to win the SEC, to be the
Right.
best team of your conference. And I just think that we just don't need to passively look at it. I think that that's something that going into the season, Kirby wants to accomplish, is to be the best in the SEC. And we still have that goal in front of us. So let's just go out there and do it. We ain't got to be scared or worried about playing Texas or Texas A&M. We play our best football. Let's take care of business. We good.
Big
I can
facts,
tell
big
you
facts.
1,000%. I'm sorry. I can tell you 1,000%. Kirby wants to win the SEC every single year.
For sure.
Yes, and I think we should. Like I say, I like to control my own destiny. I don't want to not make the SEC championship, be 10-2, and then now we like, oh, where's the committee gonna put us? Are they gonna put us at 9 and we got to travel to Indiana and all that stuff? Like, I ain't trying to do all that. Plus,
You're gonna
I
have to
like
hear
to
that
be the
about
king of the
10-3.
SEC, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have to hear that if you go 9-3. If you lose in the SEC championship, I'm saying now you're gonna be worried about if the committee gonna put you in or
Yeah, but
know what I'm
but
saying?
this is the
That's you
thing.
take
You
care of your
gotta
destiny.
like when you 10-2, you have no chance to affect your destiny. In the SEC championship, you do. And everybody talk about, well,
so
everybody hold on. Everybody talk about we want a week off. Well, if you win the SEC championship, you get another week off. It's not like you start playing the week after the SEC championship. You don't start playing the playoffs till December the 20th.
listen, I'm gonna tell you what the numbers are. I think I put it out in the text. 99% chance if you win the SEC, Georgia goes to the playoffs. 99% chance if they didn't play in the SEC championship, they went to the playoff. If they lose the SEC championship, it's 85%.
They've updated those numbers. If we beat Georgia Tech, they said Georgia is a lot to get in the playoffs.
That's awesome then.
And this is the thing. I just personally,
I mean,
this
85% pretty much a lot, but I mean,
But this is my thing. And this is my opinion. Nobody might not share it. To try to avoid a loss is a loser mentality to me. Like, we go into the SEC championship to win it, dog.
Well, it's not trying to avoid a loss. I was just talking about the numbers. The numbers stated.
But that's the numbers. The numbers is bringing up the, like, all the people that's been talking about ain't been talking about, okay, I don't want to go to the SEC championship and win it. It's like, what if we lose? What if that's a loser mentality? Dog, I don't think like that.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying, but that is part of the equation. Losing is part of the equation.
But this is you say. But hold on. But you say a 3-loss team. Okay, listen, after last week, Bama got, like, everybody got 3 losses. They have to field 12 teams.
Let me say this too. This is a point no one brings up. At the end of the day, let's say we lose to Tech, right? We still have an opportunity to go play an SEC championship game and go to the play. If we just lost to Tech,
you gotta win. If you lose to Tech, you got to win it to make it.
That's the point.
Yeah,
we have the
that's
opportunity.
Right.
Let's say if Alabama won, they went. We didn't have the opportunity to play in the SEC championship, and we lost to Tech. We just probably out.
Right.
We could still lose, go win the SEC championship game, and we're in.
I don't know, fellas. I don't know about too many three lost teams, bro. No matter.
I'm
They
saying you get
listen.
the
Now, now,
automatic
now, look, now
bid.
look at him. Now look at him. See what
You
I'm
get
Hold
the
on,
saying?
hold on, hold
automatic
on, hold
bid.
on. Hold on. Said
Yep.
you gotta have 12 teams, right?
Yep.
Have you seen the records of the top 14 teams?
Not everybody.
So after Alabama and Ole Miss and Texas A&M lost, there
Mm-hmm.
will be a 3-loss team in the playoffs. I don't know who it's going to be, but there will be. Like, they have to field 12 teams. Just because
Yeah.
you're a 3-loss team at this point in the
Seven say
season.
they got us at 7.
Yeah, they got us at 7 in front of Tennessee. Tennessee is 8. SMU is 9. Indiana is 10, and Miami, they just put Miami at 6, which they're a 1-loss team. I can see that. But SMU and Miami gonna have to, as long as they take care of business this weekend, they got to play each other. SMU's in the ACC championship regardless.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, Miami is a one-loss team. They number 6. You know what I'm saying? Like the wins and losses mean something.
Yeah, SMU a 1-loss team, and we 2 spots ahead of them.
Well, we don't
Yeah,
care
the
about
strength
this
of
right
schedule
now.
with
We just
them.
talking about seeding. We arguing over seeding at this point. I was just more talking about getting in.
Right, like assuming that we take care of Tech, we in regardless. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
what
we
I'm
play in
saying.
the SEC championship, we got more of a chance to either win the SEC championship and get a bye, or get a first round and be top 8. I don't want to be in the 9 to 12 and have to travel in the first round,
Yeah, they should definitely hope.
which is where we would probably be if we didn't have a chance to play in the SEC championship.
Correct. Correct.
So that's what I'm saying. Somebody earlier, J Dog asked. We was talking about dominant teams. Yes, is Oregon not considered dominant? They struggle with Idaho mightily in the beginning of the season. They struggle with Boise State. They haven't like dominated teams, not like 2021 Georgia, not like a 2020 Bama, 2019 LSU, like none of that. Like they haven't done not like a 2022 Georgia, to be honest with you, or 2022 Ohio State. So I think they are the unblemished team. They've been the most consistent, but I wouldn't call them dominant. I don't know, Cal, you got a opinion on Oregon and how they've looked this year?
No, they're a great team. Like you said, they're not dominant. Like you said, dominant teams are teams that go out there and their margin of victory is 40-7. Like that's what their season total is. 45-6. Like where you're top 5 offensively, you're top 5 defensively. That's a dominant team. But they are really really good. They're a team obviously that's going to be there in the end. They're probably going to have to play Ohio State again in the Big Ten championship. So I think that that's going to be a tough task for them. But either which way, they're a playoff team and they have an opportunity just like the other teams in the field.
Right. How your thoughts on Oregon, Charlie? I know you done seen them play a couple of times. They dominant like 2021 Dogs or 2020 Bama.
No, I'm not going to say that because I mean, you look at it. Boise State. I mean, shout out to Boise State. I mean, they have a chance to be that 4th seed
Right.
if they went out. But and just in terms of being dominant, no. I mean, generally, I was a big component of saying every year, generally, you're going to have maybe 3 teams that really could win the national championship, maybe 4.
Right.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. The past 2 seasons, well, particularly this one, I'm gonna say it's probably 8 teams that could win it easily any given Saturday.
Right. I think the college football season has shown us this, and I was a big proponent of when they announced 12 teams. You had the national media pundits and some content creators like, oh, that's going to devalue the regular season. I'm like, I think it increases the regular season because everybody feels like they got a shot now. Like when you
Yep.
got 4 teams and you lose that first game, you like, oh man, we might not
Season
make
done.
it now.
So
Yeah.
you know what, Coach? We've all talked about this, and I think what made the drastic change is it would have always been 2 or 3, maybe 4 teams that could compete, but the way that NIL and the transfer portal came in, it just changed the whole landscape and how you really have to look at football. Powerhouses are still powerhouses year in and year out, but on any given year, any given team can come out of the blue and just make a splash.
Right. I think both have a lot to do with it, but I think more so the transfer portal and being able to transfer anywhere you want to, anytime you want to.
Right, kids transferring now.
Right, like people hitting the portal mid-season now, like regardless of money, like people hitting the portal and spreading the talent out. Like I know the NIL helps you get some of the talent, but if the portal rules weren't like as loose as they are, we wouldn't have as many, say people hit the portal. Said, what you think about the portal, the transfer portal? You can transfer, like apparently you can hit portal in the mid-season now and stay on people's roster.
I think some of the kids, man, they're kind of delusional. You know what I mean? They kind of basing things off of when they were in high school, and a lot of times, man, kids, I was a high 4-star, 5-star, but you didn't really do too well your first year or two in college, and these coaches they talk. So
Yeah.
also if you don't have a great attitude, this, that, and other, you know what I mean? Like they telling their peers in the same conference, another conference. So a lot of guys, man, they get stuck. Like I know some kids that played with my son in high school, and like a couple of them like before him, man. So my son graduated 2020. One kid is still, in the portal right now, and he was like class of 2019.
And it's like
Wow.
65-70% of the kids be stuck in the portal or something like that.
Yeah.
It's an extremely high number that they don't really talk about, because all we see as fans on the fan side is we see the big names hit the portal and we see them come out of the portal. And we see, like, if you follow a team, then you see your team players hit the portal or who you get out of the portal. But
Right.
there's 131 32 Division 1 teams. All these guys are hitting the portal. I seen an article today that said the Dogs may have the biggest number they've had since the portal started to hit the portal, which, because next year we won't have walk-ons because of the rule changes. So some of the walk-ons, they see some of the walk-ons may be hitting the portal, and not every walk-on can go somewhere and start, but some of them can. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm not saying you shouldn't try if the rules allow it. I'm just saying I think the portal is more so the reason why talent is so spread out, and we see these, teams getting beat, each weekend or whatever. And to Shawty's point, there's like, as many teams that we've ever seen have a chance that can win a national title this year. So,
Yeah.
And
For sure.
think
For sure. I
about
was gonna say too,
UNLV
real quick.
situation. Go ahead, my bad. I just say think about UNLV situation. You got a quarterback of I think at the point in time he was 3-0, 4-0, top 25 team, and he just stopped playing because the NIL wasn't right. You know what I'm saying?
that's that's like
Listen,
free agency, right?
I ain't gonna blame him if that check ain't cash, and I ain't gonna blame him on that.
But I'm
But
saying in
what
the
I will
past you
say is
couldn't do
too,
that.
man.
But, yeah.
Like you was just saying, Cedric was just saying that there's a lot of false hope out there, and I think a lot of kids do get a lot of bad advice because sometimes it is better just stick it out where you're at, you know what I'm saying? Because you got that opportunity for a reason. And just because you didn't get a chance to play your first 2 weeks, your first year, whatever it is, it doesn't always mean, you know what I'm saying, let me jump in the portal and go somewhere else. Because I heard some sort of statistic and it was talking about, once a kid jumps in the portal, it just increases each time that he's going to jump back in the portal another time because it's just so easy to go in there and say, well, let me go over here and try this. Oh, let me go over here. And they'll play, you know what I'm saying? The coach like me over there. So I think we got to watch for that too. A lot of the kids, I think, are, they're starting to get some bad advice as well.
Barry
Right.
Alexander.
Right. And we, again, nobody's immune to it. Hey, kudos to the guys that want to go out there try their hand in another school, but I'm in that same camp. Sometimes you may need to stick it out. Just depends on who you are. Like, especially like I've seen now true freshman offensive linemen getting in the portal. I'm like, bro, like I don't know where, like only a select few, like minimal true freshmen started offensive lineman, man. Like I don't know why y'all hitting the portal, right? Like I mean, if I'm not mistaken, your son redshirted his first year, right? And then he went on to get drafted by the NFL, all conference and everything. And then Jared Wilson who is our current center, he's waited his turn and he's probably going to get drafted. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just don't understand it, but I just want to tell the Dog Nation, listen, the portal will be coming up after the SEC championship. Do not get along, but we will have dogs hitting the portal. It's just the nature of the beast. Guys want to go play, or at least like they think they're gonna get in the portal and go to a better situation. And to Shawty's point, some of that's gonna be NIL driven, some of that's gonna be portal playing time driven, and just hope these guys got good people in their corner. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody giving out great advice.
Yeah.
So who will go? So some of the dogs don't seem
Oh,
to
I
be
got a
happy.
quick question. I do have a quick question for Mr. Van Prant. Now, you don't have to disclose. Did your son ever think about talk to you about like he wanted to transfer because things may not have been working out early in his career, or he didn't see what was ahead of him the next few years when he first came to campus and got redshirted?
Yeah, he was discouraged. He really was because of um, him, just like most of the kids. You know what I mean? He started as a freshman in high school. Now he knew it was going to be some work, but to be totally honest with you, a lot of times, the kids, they may think they deserve to play. At the time or whatever. And so he had a couple moments of immaturity. But overall, he saw it was best for him to stay where he was, and thank God, he did, reach that clarity,
Right, because I think, like
Think of
you said
two.
earlier, not everybody comes out of the portal. Some
Yeah.
people just lingering in the portal, hoping to find a team. You know what I'm saying? And way more stay in the portal than come out of the portal. So
I can honestly say, at Georgia, man, he grew up a lot because I don't know if y'all ever been around any of these college kids or you heard about them, that most of the athletes, they want to be three and done. They want to be three and done.
Yeah.
And my son was under the same mindset, because that was the thing. Everybody wanted to be, three and done. You go first round. And when he got to Georgia, he saw that it wasn't that simple. So they really helped him, grow up, and kind of prioritize and see how things really work. So I appreciate them for that.
Yeah.
right,
I would say this, man. One thing I would say, and I'll try to put it in a quick nutshell, but it's really, in my opinion, it's just called what I call the trickle down effect. With all this money that's going around, it started at the pros, it's trickling down to the college, and now it's trickling down even to high schools now, with even
Mm-hmm.
high schools got NIL.
Yep.
Next is going to be down to the little league, just like AAU and things like that. And unfortunately, as much good as it offer in terms of people to be benefit from their financial side of it, it's going to be some bad to it, and that just comes
Yeah.
with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of look at the NIL, and unfortunately, it's just a trickle down effect. That would happen when there's so much money being spread around. It just
Yeah.
is.
that
I think
is true.
that's a great point, and I also just wanted to follow up with like Cedric saying with his son. That those are the good stories, the great stories that we don't hear about the kids that stuck through the adversity. You know what I'm saying, and stuck with the plan, and then you see what happens. Like you said, it wasn't 3 years, but 4 or 5 years later, once he developed into a man, and then like you said, went on, he got drafted, was all conference, is one of the greatest players that we've had here at Georgia. So it's a good
Right.
story.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? Just like our quarterback Carson Beck, who stuck it out, he had a chance to transfer. I think he thought about it early in his career.
He did.
Like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't blame kids for thinking they can go play or wanting to be on the field. Every competitor wants to be on the field. It takes a lot of maturity to sit behind somebody, even if you think you're better than that person or whatever, and keep getting developed. Things of that nature, man. So but the portal is here and it ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we talked about earlier. Georgia Tech has looked better. They've been hitting that portal hard. They even got some former dogs down there. So
Yes,
even
sure
with
do.
that said, we still a 19.5 point favorite this weekend. 19.5. I feel like that's a lot considering how they played us last year, but it is at night in Athens. If you are watching this afterwards, listen, the players have asked you to show out, be loud, be proud. They're going for a blackout again this Friday. I don't know if no black jerseys is going to be worn, nothing like that. But Tate Ratledge, Warren Brinson, some of them guys got on social media asking for the fans to show up in droves. So we're going to go through. And if you in the comments still, give us your score prediction this weekend. Dogs taking on the Yellow Jackets at home at, I want to say the game started at 7:30 Friday night.
7:30. Yep.
7:30 Friday night. So, hey, if you're not going to the game, don't forget, we playing Friday night on Black Friday. Don't wake up Saturday morning and be like, what time the Dogs play?
Be ready to go with your Georgia gear on, sitting on the couch sad.
You just gonna be in for a whole bunch of rivalry week without Georgia is all I can tell you. So I'm gonna start off, man. I do think what Cal and Thad said earlier, man. I think this is gonna be a little bit closer than the spread might say. I think it's gonna be more like a 31-17 type game. I think Georgia Tech will be able to run a little bit on us. But if we can minimize the run, I'm not really scared of the pass like we have been with other teams. So I'm going to say 31-17. I got a stat guy, resident South Carolina fan, gets in and says 63-3. Listen, I would love that. That means that both sides of the ball would be humming, not just one. Said, what you got this weekend, man? 19.5-point spread. What you got?
I would say maybe 35-21, something like that.
Okay, I can definitely see that 2-score game. I still think it's double digits, but still not covering the spread. Thad, what you got?
I'm gonna go with 31-21.
31-21. What's going on, Bama Talk? Appreciate you getting in here, man. He said Georgia by 50. No, he said all seriousness, 31-10. Listen, if our defense can stop, basically stifle their offense, I could see that happening. But again, because like I say, they don't put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and we all know how Carson plays when he has a clean pocket.
Who play.
And depending on who quarterback play. And that's another thing. Like you said, and I think I seen something similar. They either he's gonna play the backup or he may start, and we ain't got a lot of film on that guy because I think he's only played like a couple of snaps a game until last week against NC State. I think he played in the second half most of the time. So Dutch gets in and says 42-17. UGA makes them one-dimensional and having to throw the ball. If that's the case, then 42-17 is a real possibility because they're not strong at throwing the ball at all. Cool Cal, what you got? 19.5-point spread.
Man, I would love to go something like 42-17. I'm just not seeing it right now. I'm kind of along with what you guys said. I'm thinking like 34-24. It's going to be a tight, hard-fought game, but I think we come out with a solid victory. And again, beating Tech by 10 points, like we all kind of said, 10, 12, 14 points, that's a good win, man. Tech has been a good team this year, and so I don't think that that's anything disrespectful that we're saying. I think that would be a really good win for us.
I think double-digit win over Tech will be good. They 7-4 right now. They already bowl eligible. They've shown their tenacity playing against Miami. Miami's got the number one offense in the nation, so they held them to 23 points. So we'll see. I'll take any win at this point. At this point from here on out, we survive in advance, baby. That's all we counting as W's. You know what I'm saying? Like that, we taking W's. That's all we want. Taking W's.
That's how I feel, man. Early on, I wanted it to look a certain way, and this, that, and other, and week in, week out, they didn't do it. But I started saying, "Hey, man, just get the W."
Just get the W, baby.
And I'm gonna say two things.
Like I said, they don't have any dominant teams. You know what I mean? So, the most important thing is to win.
And I'm gonna say two things.
Right.
The first thing I would say is that the way they play football, if they are successful, we won't have many opportunities to score a lot of points because of the way they like to run the ball.
Good point.
And secondly, if you've been watching our show through the years, you've always heard me say, "Hey, we baking a cake." Now the ingredients might be different, but the outcome gonna be the same, and that's where we are right now. At the end of the year, no matter how this look, no matter how this cake, no matter how the ingredients don't went into this cake, we still right where we supposed to be and want to be, playing for the
Yep.
SEC championship with a shot to win it and head it to the playoffs.
That's right.
We still in the same place, no matter how it look. We still in the same place.
Salute.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No matter how it look, hey, just get the dub. I think we all, like said, I think we all came to grips with that early in the season. We just want to get the dub and keep moving. Because at the end of the day, if there is no dominant teams, as long as you're winning, what can they say? Our girl Hina gets in and says the committee is just going by wins and losses. I say we play a pansy schedule next year. Well, the out of conference schedule is easier. We don't have Clemson. We do still have Tech, but we replaced Clemson with, I think we got like 3 what I would call cupcakes. They still division. 2 of them are still division one FCS, but yeah, definitely don't start the year with Clemson like that. But the conference games won't change. They'll just change venues. Whoever we played on the road this year will play at home next year, and whoever we played at home this year will play on the road next year. So that those schedules are already set by the conference. So Georgia, for those that do go to the games, man, Georgia home schedule next year will be what is it? Good for viewing pleasure, I would say. Ole Miss, Alabama, and Texas will all 3 be in Athens next year.
High price tickets. I will say this right here. If Kirby pulls this one off, this would be no doubts about his best coaching job thus far.
Big facts. I was thinking that, guys. I was thinking that last week. After beating UMass, I said, "Boy, if we win this thing, Kirby."
Been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster. I mean, listen. At one point in the season, man, we were down 28-0 to a team, 30-7. We was all like, "Oh, I mean, like it's just been that." And then to come back and take the lead in that same game.
Right.
So it's just been a crazy year. But I will say this, man. I think that the way college football is going, I think that the upcoming years, I think a lot more seasons are going to be like this because just simply playing the type of in and out games that we got to play every week against top tier talent in the SEC, I think that you're just not going to go through the gauntlet clean. Everybody is going to come out 1, 2 losses, no matter how good your team is, just because it's just that good of a conference. So I think we'll see a lot more seasons where it looks like this, where we're like, we might not be as good. We lose 1 or 2 games, but we're going to still find ourselves in the same position at the end of the year.
I definitely agree with that. Lionel gets in and says 45-20 Dogs. I got it. I like it. Definitely like it. I agree with you, Cal. I think every year going forward is going to look like this. That doesn't mean that we can't roll off a back to back or still have what we would consider a dynasty or be on a roll. But home field advantage, Kirby said it a couple weeks ago. Home field advantage means so much more now that the talent is spread out because when you travel, and Shawty, because you play, your roster ain't the same on the road. You don't get to have everybody on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? And now that minimized roster on the road, you got less and less quality backups back behind you. So
Right. And then when you purely look at it like this, we're talking about kids coming into school and recruiting rankings. Those things mean something. You look in the SEC, man, you got 7 teams like in the top 10. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So it's just it's tough. Every team is so tough, and the margins are getting a little bit smaller with the portal and the NIL deals. I see Michigan is trying to come down and get one of our top guys now. I don't know if y'all just saw that, Isaiah Gibson, trying to grab and get him at the last minute. So I just think that, the talent's getting spread out a lot more with the NIL. The margins are getting thinner. And like you said, man, this would be a phenomenal job coaching wise that Kirby's putting together, considering all of those factors this year.
Right. And as we close out the show, I want to give one more reminder to the Dog Nation. Listen, transfer portal season is coming up. We will lose some guys, but just know Kirby is on his due diligence and he will get some guys. Listen, they got some kind of revenue sharing thing starting next year. There's going to be some kind of cap on it. So a lot of teams right now are blank checking these things, and Michigan is one of them. They blank check.
Michigan
Right.
4, ain't they?
Ohio State
Right,
did.
Ohio State.
There you go.
I think Dabo mentioned this all season will be the most money Clemson's ever had for stuff like that. So because everybody's trying to spend as much money as they can before they have to do the 20% revenue sharing or whatever it is, because it won't necessarily like all the way limit NIL, but it won't be all carte blanche like it is because
Well, yeah,
they, huh?
I often say it's my understanding that the revenue sharing you'll have that where that's capped, but the NIL will still be the same, but it's just definitely be based off your name and likeness.
Right, definitely off your name and likeness instead of just hey, come get it. So a
Like
lot
a
of these
paper
teams are
play, you know
trying
what I'm
to say,
saying?
hey, we got the money, let's spend it now before it don't really matter as much. So you won't see that, but just know Kirby got a plan. He gonna get some guys from some other schools too. So we gonna lose some guys. We would like to keep them all, but hey, we gonna lose some guys. Do not panic when you see that, man. Listen, it's been another good episode of Respect the Hedges, man. Listen, we got the Yellow Jackets this Friday. Again, it's Friday at 7:30. If you ain't been paying attention, do not miss it. It's Friday at 7:30. If you go into the game where Black Be Loud affect the game, Georgia Tech likes to do a lot of pre-snap movement. The louder you are, the harder it makes their communication when they start doing all that pre-snap movement. So make sure you're in there and doing your thing. We appreciate Cedric Granger coming on. We appreciate you, man. You're always welcome to come on the show, talk dogs with us, talk college football. We want to wish SVP good NFL career. I know he took some
Appreciate
adjusting,
it.
but he's getting used to it now up there in the cold in Buffalo. And as always, go ahead. Do you want to say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, oh man, it's gonna be a blizzard out there this weekend, man. Ridiculous.
That Buffalo weather hit different. I know it's cold down here, what we say, but Buffalo weather hit a lot different. Another reason why I don't want to have to go on the road, because if we go on the road first round, we probably going to have to go up north, and I don't want none of that
Yeah.
mid-December up north weather. So, hey, man, with that said, we appreciate all the dogs getting in on Facebook, getting in on YouTube. As always, remember to respect these hedges, and as always, go dogs.
Go
Go
dogs.
dogs.
Happy Turkey
Thanks,
Day.
guys.